This is Boxing Bros UK. I'm Chris. This is my co-host Andrew, the Boxing Brain, and we're here to talk about the breaking news: Joshua BUATSI, Willy Hutchinson fighting for the WBO interim title, which is a title. Basically, it means they're the mandatory. And if anything happens to Beterbiev, who's the champion, I believe, is he the champ or is it Pivot? Well, whoever is the champ, if they get injured, they can't defend their belt, or they refuse to fight the mandatory and get stripped, anything like that happens, the winner of this title automatically gets elevated to champion. And then the next time there's a mandatory, the champion, after they have fight for the undisputed, they're next in line to fight. Okay?
Yep.
Originally, Anthony Yarde was supposed to be having this fight with Joshua BUATSI, and he wanted a flat fee from Frank Warren. Frank Warren refused and said, I'm not paying that, and if you think you're worth that, let it go to purse bids and we'll see. We'll see who's going to pay you that much for this fight. Anthony Yarde and Tunde Jack, or his management, as Frank Warren kept referring, it's his management, pulled him out the purse bid. To say like basically, fuck you, we're not doing that, because they know that Frank Warren's right, obviously, and they're not going to get the money that they was asking Frank Warren for. So basically, WBO have had enough of being messed about and brought Willy Hutchinson in. And do you know what? Great performance on Saturday in the 5v5. He deserves it, and this is a great step up fight for him. What are your thoughts on this big mess with Anthony Yarde? Firstly.
Oh God, where'd you start? And I'll just make sure is my audio coming through okay? Yeah, just checking.
Good, all good. Yeah. We've had some technical difficulty, folks.
So there's a few, I think there's a few elements here. I think one I think there's obviously a bit of confusion between the stories between Frank Warren and Anthony Yarde and his team. One is saying Frank Warren that he's contractually obligated still, and they want to honour it. Anthony Yarde and his team are saying that they're essentially free agents, like Chris has just said. And there's a bit of confusion. I don't know if this is egotism on Anthony Yarde's part. I don't think his career's been handled brilliantly. He hasn't gone about things in a great way, Chris, has he? Some of the matchmaking's been a bit weird. It's all a little bit of a muddle, really, isn't it? Because Anthony Yarde isn't quite, I don't think, fulfilling the potential that he has. And demanding all this money when he probably doesn't deserve it yet. I don't really know what to make of it all. It's all a bit of a madness, really, to be honest.
Yeah. It's like I blame his manager, because his manager is bigging up Anthony Yarde and talking at him like he's the best thing since life. He's a good talent.
Yeah.
But he's always fought absolute bums, yeah? And then he's fought Kovalev, lost. Then he fought absolute bombs.
Yeah.
He fought Beterbiev, lost. The only person he fought in between who's any good was Lyndon Arthur. And what happened? He wasn't even world level. Lost. So it just goes to show you've got to do the right matchmaking. Not too hard. That's a rematch. And he beat Lyndon Arthur in the rematch. But you've got to get your matchmaking right. You can't make someone fight journeyman who've lost more than they've won, like for about 4 or 5 fights.
Yeah.
Keep saying, oh, he didn't have an amateur career, and then stick him in against Kovalev. And then do the same thing again. It's just like his career is absolutely just been terrible. And his manager is just like, I know you've got to big up your fighter, but you can't be sitting there acting like he's not Canelo. What's the point? There's no point being a free agent when you've never sold out. You haven't even sold out the O2. You sold out York Hall maybe once. He's headlined. I think you headlined York Hall or somewhere small like that once.
Yeah. I think the thing is what seems, and we can only surmise what's going on because it's very difficult to get in the heads of these guys without them actually coming out and saying it, he seems to be. He has a great relationship with Tundai, doesn't he? And they seem very close. You know, lions in camp and all this sort of stuff. But he seems to have a hell of a lot of influence on his career. And like you said, like he's had fight. Then he stepped up to Kovalev. That was still a few years ago a very good Kovalev at light heavyweight, not the one we saw against Safar at cruiserweight. So people, you know, would go, "Oh, yeah. Well, Kovalev, like rubber." No, Kovalev, the Crusher, was a great fighter, and when he fought him, he was still a decent fighter. Then he goes. Then he has a few. You know, Lyndon Arthur avenges that loss. And was a good rematch. You know, he let his hands go more, was more aggressive on the front foot and got the win and beat Lyndon Arthur up. Then sort of out of nowhere goes up against Beterbiev, one of the greatest light heavyweights, 100% KO ratio. Admittedly puts in a good performance, actually, before he does get knocked out. But you just kind of think, if the matchmaking, as you say, if he'd have been, you know, just a bit sharp with a fight, just going up the levels, like any normal fighter does, he might have actually maybe snuck a win against Kovalev. And I remember the Kovalev fight. I don't remember exactly what his trainer had. He said, empty the tank. Empty the fight. And then Kovalev knocked him out with a jab.
Yeah, because he emptied the tank, literally.
I'm not saying, you know, Usyk stopped Dubois with jab, right? I'm not, you know, get this, you know, the jab's a very important weapon, but you're not usually knocked out by a jab. That's fatigue. That was fatigue. That was with Yarde in that fight. He was absolutely exhausted,
and he was handling himself well, even in the Beterbiev fight. And I just think, the sad thing about Anthony Yarde is he's 32. He's going to start sliding soon.
He's not 32. He's a wonderful athlete. He's a wonderful athlete, but he's not going to last forever.
Exactly. So I just think, I think his career is fucked now, and he's never going to be. Well, maybe they're trying to cash out. Maybe they know he's never going to be a world champion now. He's 32. He's missed the boat. So they're trying to get the fights for the most money. Maybe that's why they were trying to. That's why they were trying to extort Frank Warren, and then anyone else who will give him money, you know.
Imagine some of these. He must be sitting there, Chris, and thinking, Day of Reckoning, 5v5, Ring of Fire. I can't believe I've remembered all them. That was good knowledge there. He must be thinking, fuck me, I could be a multi-millionaire.
Yeah. The thing is, all this business, pulling out of purse bids, wanting all this money started before. So it kind of wasn't in Frank Warren's good books. And you know, Frank Warren likes Anthony Yarde personally, on a personal level. I can't guarantee, but more than likely, it wouldn't have been Hutchinson fighting Craig Richards. It would have been Yarde. It would have been Yarde if he was on good terms with Frank Warren in Saudi, getting that Saudi money. It would have been Yarde.
Yeah.
But the person in me, that I have a sneaky feeling that Tunde Ajayi probably said, "You're better than that. You need to headline your own shows, not going on a card with all them." Like I can really picture him in his ear saying, "You're better than that. You should be headlining a show, not fighting on a 5v5 card."
I think this is an example in life of how important it is when you're a celebrity, you know, a sportsman and a celebrity. You know, the right people around you is so important, you know, who've got your best interests at heart, you know, and have certain people around his camp got his best interests at heart. Because if they did, the last 3-4 years, well, the last 2-3 years in particular, wouldn't have gone the way they've gone, surely. I can't.
Yeah, exactly.
A guy of his talent, right? I like watching him. He's exciting. Exciting talent, and it's just it's a waste. It's a waste.
It is a waste, and it's just like there's so many. He could have fought Craig Richards. He could have fought Shakan Peters. He could have fought. He could fight BUATSI, Hutchinson. Do you know we've got really, really good light heavyweights?
Yeah, Bivol. I mean, he wouldn't have been ready for Bivol, but that was the sort of trajectory, that he was on. But
who's that guy that won that tournament, the golden thingy? Bolotniks. BUATSI fought Bolotniks. Like there was so many fights out there at light heavy that he could have took, and he's took none.
Yeah. Who's the other Ramirez? Yeah, Ramirez, Ben Whittaker. Oh dear.
And now it's just like, what I can see him doing? I can see him like now just taking some shit money and going and fighting Benavidez or something. Because Benavidez is a little sort of moved up to light heavy. Like he'll either take a really shit fight or a big fight. So he doesn't look as bad when he loses, but there's only so many times.
That's an interesting standpoint, because I still think, even now, I mean, Yard's got plenty left. I mean, Benavidez stepping up to light heavyweight, which you imagine he's going to do. I mean, Yard would still be a risky fight for. I think Benavidez would win, but that's still a little bit of a, it's not like Yard's a gatekeeper at light heavyweight. So it would be an interesting fight.
Yet.
No.
I really think he needs a new trainer.
Yeah,
I think he needs a new trainer.
He seems to love it. He seems to love his trainer, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got a proper affinitive loyalty. And the thing about Tunde Ajayi is, have you ever heard anybody go, when they've left their trainer, I need to go to Tunde Ajayi? Or have you ever heard anybody in the boxing world say, when they do these interviews, who do you think would be a good trainer? Have you ever, for a British trainer, for someone to go to? Have you ever heard anyone mention Tunde Ajayi's name? I have never heard it. I've heard people say Tony Tibbs, Matt Sims, Ben Davison, Dave Caldwell, Adam Booth. I've never heard anybody in the boxing world, apart from Spencer Fearon, because it's his mate, maybe. Never heard anybody say Tunde Ajayi would definitely be a good fit for that fighter. I've never heard that once.
Yeah, Virgil Hunter, Freddie Roach, all these, Sugar Hill, whatever, all these guys. I'll tell you what, mate, bloody Tunde, he needs to go with Malik Scott and to go and, re-educate themselves, I think.
And the thing is, I think the only other high-profile fighter I can remember Tunde managing was O'Hara Davis. And O'Hara Davis left him and said that he said he's a greedy bastard, and he tried to steal money from him. That's why he separated from him. No, he didn't say he tried to. He said he stole money from me.
Also, look at the similarities, right? O'Hara Davis, right, got some talent. Look at his career. Little bit of a bit of ridicule assigned to it. Not meeting his potential. It's very similar, isn't it? It's very similar.
That's it. And he left Tunde because he said that he stole from him, and he sacked his ass. I can't remember how. I think it's when he left Matchroom, actually. But anyway, moving on. How do you think BUATSI and Hutchinson? How do you think that fight's going to go?
Oh, well, after the Richards performance, again, I know it's a cliche in boxing. You can only go off a last fight, the last fight of a fighter. I think it's more competitive than I maybe would have said before the Richards fight. I think he looks confident. He's very passionate. Willy Hutchinson. He's skillful. He's got some talent. I think if he can make some more adjustments, have a really good camp. I'll tell you what. I know BUATSI's got a very good jab, Olympic pedigree and all the rest of it. I think that's a closer fight than maybe on paper. On paper, people go, BUATSI should get the job done. I don't know. I don't believe so. I think this is closer now than what.
You know what's funny?
I don't know.
Who was BUATSI's last opponent? I think BUATSI's last fight was Craig Richards. Was it?
Was it Craig Richards? Yeah. Oh God, but I need to get his. I've got it written down somewhere. His box rec and his fighters. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, but how do you see it, Chris? Do you think it's a lot closer than what we maybe thought a couple of years ago?
To be honest, it's to be honest, I think it's a 50-50 fight. I can't, because we might be wrong. Correct us in the comment section if you like, but I think their last fight is both Craig Richards, and Hutchinson did a better job than BUATSI. BUATSI was in he won the fight clearly, but it was very competitive. The whole fight was a competitive fight, and it was hard work. And the Willie Hutchinson fight was really a shutout until he got tired in the last rounds. Like, so, and he even gave it to him as well in the last round as well. So, but you can't go triangle theories.
You know, if you know how BUATSI can be quite hesitant at times, and he can. I find BUATSI a bit difficult to watch. You know, he doesn't let his hands go. I think he should, and he seems to he manages himself well through fights, but almost too well. And I think if he goes into that fight hesitant, and Willie Hutchinson sticks it on him, could be quite interesting. Could be quite interesting. I think,
like, obviously, we've got to see purse bids if it gets made and all that kind of stuff, but I'd probably be edging over to Hutchinson at this time, because you're only as good as your last fight. BUATSI had made hard work of Richards. Hutchinson made easy work of it, really, and he's full of confidence. He's a little bit younger, and he's got a bit more experience now. He's been a distance.
It's been a long time, Chris, since, like, because I followed BUATSI's career quite a lot, and it's been few and far between where he's had a performance. Reminds me a little bit of a Coley, not in terms of styles, but in terms of he hasn't gone about in devastating fashion, has he? At most of his career, it's sort of been a bit laboured. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh.
You've never watched one of his fights. No, you've never watched one of his fights and be like, wow, great performance. Showed a chin, showed skills, showed this. Like, it was just like, yeah, he won, but, you know, it was a bit, and it's not even like wars.
No, and I know it's not maybe
like wars, it's just like,
but he's got all the attributes, though, isn't he? You know, he's got a good jab, you know, decent right hand, you know, his movement's good, you know, he's well schooled, he's a good operator, but I don't know, it doesn't set the world alight for me. And I think maybe I just, you know, after the Willie Hutchinson Craig Richards fight, I think Willie Hutchinson earned himself a lot of fans with that fight, and I think a lot of people, British people, would be rooting for him as well. I can see that.
Even though he's Scottish, I kind of will be, especially, you know, the press conferences, the gloves are off, all that stuff. And like, where it's so nice, it's so funny, you know, when someone's like cool and calm and collective like BUATSI, God-fearing man, and then you've just got a fucking loudmouth jock there screaming at you, antagonising you. I just think it's just, I find that hilarious. I do.
Yeah, because he was doing that to Richards as well outside of the event in Saudi, and he was properly like giving him some stick. And I don't know, you know, I think he likes a little bit of those mind games and to try and rattle him a bit, and you know, and that kind of works for him. But he's entertaining, you know, and fair play to him. He's passionate.
So I'll be leaning. If you ask me now, you're as good as your last fight, and I'm going to lean towards Hutchinson. Like, I'd say 60-40. Like, if you put a gun to me and said, choose a winner, I'd choose him. But obviously, closer to the fight, training, like how press conferences go and all that, how people are looking, blah, blah, blah. Like, we'll probably flip-flop again. But now, as well, what's never sets the world alight, like you say.
Yeah, is he capable of? I mean, he didn't stop Richards, but you know, Richards is durable. I don't think he stops BUATSI. I think it would be maybe a split decision, a majority decision, something like that, maybe potentially.
Yeah, and I think it'll definitely be. I don't think because BUATSI, he's a tough kid. But another thing about BUATSI, he's not a killer. Like, I remember one time in one of his fights, he hit someone, and I think as they were going down or they was on the floor, he hit him again. And then as soon as he did it, he ran over and started saying sorry. Like,
yeah, he's a gentleman. He is a gentleman.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, save your sorries for afterwards, mate. This is a fight, brother. Come on.
Well,
I've never seen that.
He's not. He doesn't. He's not a natural finisher, is he? You know the way. You know you see. You know, like what was Zhang Wilder, right? When Wilder sort of flipped around and was done, Zhang had absolutely no problem going and finishing the job. No, like compassion at all. He just bangs. Good night. See you later.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Like, no, yeah. He's not very good at. He's not very good at. He's not a good finisher. He's not a good finisher, and he's a slow starter. So I think this, like as it stands, a lot of things are looking good for Hutchinson because he starts fast, switch hitting, and and he can get in his head, and he's a bit nasty. Do you know what I mean?
Angle. So, yeah, he can mix it up. Can Willy? Big Willy can mix it up
as well. Yeah. So I probably, as it stands, to conclude, I'll go with Willy for this fight, and I'm really excited for this fight. I think it'll be a really, really good fight, and I feel sorry for Anthony Yarde, and get a new manager and get a new trainer.
Oh, he's still got time. He's still got a little bit of time as well. Like if he could just kind of sort it out, but you kind of feel like it's slipping through the net, don't you? It's slipping through the net.
If he wants to stay based in Britain, I think a good trainer for him or coach will be maybe an Adam Booth, maybe a Shane McGuigan, because obviously he doesn't want to base himself abroad. I think Adam Booth, because like he likes that left hand low kind of like style, like reactive style. He's good with them kind of fighters. I think that will be a good match for him. But get rid of that div, Tunde Ajayi. I don't care to say he's a div. If he watches this, he probably doesn't. But I just think he's an idiot. Everything he says.
Ultimately, what it comes down to, how much does he emphasise and favour his trainer, and how much does he emphasise and favour his career? Because if he favours his career and wants to salvage it and wants to kind of be remembered as one of the British, great light heavyweights, he needs to get rid of it. I'm sorry. I know I'm not emotionally involved, but I get it, right? He's emotionally involved with it. Maybe sees him as like a brother or father. I get it, right? I'm not silly. But ultimately, if you want to be successful, or as successful as you can be, you've got to be ruthless, right? And, there we are. So,
and look, this is an example for you. Look at AJ, all them things you just said, Rob McCracken was that to AJ, but he realised this guy's taught me all he can teach me, and if I'm going to last, I need to change it up. And now he's found Ben Davidson, and he's doing it again.
He went through Garcia. He went through Derek James. And was there someone else? Yeah, before he got to Ben Davidson.
He had Robert Garcia. Angel Fernandez. He had Angel Fernandez, Robert Garcia, and then Derek James, Ben Davidson, because he had to find the right fit. But it's your career. Your boxing life's so short, and you can't just stay with someone because they're like a dad to you, or you've got that love. And they've got to respect that, and you just got to be ruthless. Like you say, you got to be ruthless and do what's best for you.
Yeah, and it's worked out for AJ. So well, there you go. That's actually a really good example, Chris. So if you was his advisor, or if you were someone close to him who respected what you had to say, that's what you'd be saying to him, wouldn't you? Be saying, look, let the dust settle. He's probably going to hate you. He's probably going to ghost you. Like a girlfriend or a partner who's whatever. But after the dust has settled, you might be able to regain that friendship. So it is what it is, isn't it?
So that's it. Conclude. New trainer for Tunde Ajayi. Willy Hutchinson is probably going to win. Prediction. But we'll do more on the build up and closer to the fight if it actually gets made. It's only at purse bids. And that's Boxing Bros out. Peace.
Thank you very much, guys. Cheers, Chris.
Subscribe, please.